Hello, I'm Carl Schwab. I'm a lead flight instructor for DARTdrones, and we're going to talk about flying our drone responsibly today. The nice thing about drones is we can put them up in the air and see places we can't see from on the ground. When we get up to these altitudes, the main important thing is for us to keep the drone in line of sight, and we're going to have a good time and we're going to be able to see what we want to see from the air. Always remember that the FAA requires you, whether or not you're recreational or commercial, to follow certain guidelines. Some of the common guidelines between commercial and recreational are a 400-foot max altitude, 3 miles of visibility. We want to avoid other traffic in the area, other helicopters or aircraft, and we want to keep that aircraft in line of sight. These regulations are very important, and it's important we all follow them. It only takes one wrong move by one person to spoil it for all of us. So be safe when you're flying your drone. Before you fly, it's important to check the Uas Facility Maps that are published by the FAA. Those facility maps will identify places like national parks, wildlife areas, controlled airspaces, and other areas that we're not allowed to fly. Or if we are allowed to fly, that we must get permission before we fly. Please look at that, plug in your address, know where you are, and abide by the Uas Facility Maps. Before we fly, we have to understand whether we're flying commercially or if we're doing it recreationally. If we're flying commercially, we must possess a license for the Part 107, and this license is issued by the FAA after you take a written test. If you're going to fly recreationally, you need to understand that the rules are a little bit different than if you're going to fly commercially. Consult the FAA regulations to better understand what your requirements are in order to fly recreationally. When traveling to your flight area, make sure you stay on the trail and get permission before flying on private land. Remember not to spook livestock or wildlife. Pack out what you pack in. When I get to an area and I'm ready to fly, I always make sure the area is clear of hazards and obstacles. Find an area that's not close to trees, set out your mat, and unpack your drone. Inspect it carefully, checking all of the parts that move, including the rotors and the blades. Once you do that, quickly inspect your battery to make sure you have enough power before you turn it on, and then go through a complete system check. Check your minimum obstruction clearance altitude. Then you're going to want to check your maximum altitude, make sure you're not going past 400 feet in elevation. And then also set a good, clean return to home altitude based on your MOCA. And that's the best way to set up your drone for flight. Travel responsibly. Drone usage is permitted in many areas. Be sure you are in an applicable drone zone. When flying in national forests, special guidelines apply to protect natural and cultural resources. Be sure to meet all Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, requirements and their safety guidelines. Respect the rights of others. Do not fly over developed sites, including campgrounds, trailheads, marinas, resorts, and ski areas. Do not fly over or near wildlife. Do not fly over groups of people or public events. Educate yourself. Fly your drone at or below 400 feet. Do not fly near helibases, air tanker bases, backcountry airstrips, and other facilities. Contact land managers for area restrictions or closures. Take a skills course and know how to safely operate your drone and software. Avoid sensitive areas. Do not fly over or near wildfires. Flying responsibly in drone zones helps protect natural and cultural resources. Remember, motorized vehicles aren't allowed in federally designated wilderness areas. Do your part. Keep your drone in line of sight. Do not fly in closed areas. Check your drone before each flight. Learn to operate your drone safely. Ensure you have permits and licenses for your intended use. Consider getting your license. It's going to protect you, it'll protect others, and it'll protect wildlife. I'm Carl. I fly, I hike, I bike, and I tread lightly.